We move back a long way now to 75 million years ago, and Rendezvous 10, rodents.
Rodents are one of the great success stories of mammals. More than 40% of all mammal species are rodents, and there are said to be more individual rodents in the world than all other mammals combined. Rats and mice have been the hidden beneficiaries of our own agricultural revolution, and they've travelled with us across the seas to every land in the world. They devastate our granaries and our health. Rats and their cargo of fleas were responsible for the Great Plague and arguably the Black Death. They spread typhus and have been blamed for more human deaths in the second millennium than all wars and revolutions put together. When even the four horsemen are laid low by the apocalypse, it will be rats that scavenge their remains, rats that will swarm like lemmings over the ruins of civilization. And by the way, lemmings are rodents too. Northern voles, who, for reasons that are not entirely clear, build up their populations to plague proportions in certain lemming years, and then indulge in frantic, though not wantonly suicidal, as it's called CLH, mass migration.
Rodents are gnawing machines. They have a pair of very prominent incisor teeth at the front, perpetually growing to replace massive wear and tear. Rodents can gnaw their way through almost anything. Beavers fell substantial trees by gnawing through their trunks. Mole rats live entirely underground, tunneling not with their front paws like moles, but purely with their incisor teeth. Different species of rodents have penetrated the deserts of the world: gerbils, gundis, the high mountains, marmots, chinchillas, the forest canopies, squirrels, including flying squirrels, rivers, water voles, beavers, capybaras, rainforest floor, agoutis, savanna, maras, spring hares, and arctic tundra, lemmings.
Most rodents are mud-sized, but they range up through marmots, beavers, agoutis, and maras to the sheep-sized capybaras of the South American waterways. Capybaras are prized for meat, not just because of their large size, but because, bizarrely, the Roman Catholic Church traditionally deems them honorary fish for Friday. Presumably because they're very simple. Large as they are, modern capybaras are dwarfed by various giant South American rodents that went extinct only quite recently. The giant capybara, Protohydroceras, was the size of a donkey. Heliconis was an even larger rodent the size of a small rhinoceros, which, like the giant capybara, went extinct at the time of the Great American Interchange, when the Isthmus of Panama ended South America's island split.
The world without rodents would be a very different world. It is less likely to come to pass than a world dominated by rodents and free of people. If nuclear war destroys humanity and most of the rest of life, a good bet for survival in the short term and for evolutionary ancestry in the long term is rats. I have a post-Armageddon vision. We and all other large animals are gone. Rodents emerge as the ultimate post-human scavengers. They gnaw their way through New York, London, and Tokyo, digesting spilled larders, dosed supermarkets, and human corpses, and turning them into new generations of rats and mice, whose racing populations explode out of the cities and into the countryside. When all the relics of human profligacy are eaten, populations crash again, and the rodents turn on each other and on the cockroaches scavenging them. In a period of intense competition, short generations, perhaps of radioactively enhanced mutation rates, boost rapid evolution. And with human ships and planes gone, islands become islands again, with local populations isolated, save for occasional lucky grafting. Ideal conditions for evolutionary divergence. Within 5 million years, a whole range of new species replace the ones we know. Herds of giant grazing rats are stalked by saber-toothed predatory rats. Given enough time, will a species of intelligent, cultivated rats emerge? Will rodent historians and scientists eventually organize careful archaeological gnaws through the strata of our long-compacted cities and reconstruct the peculiar and temporarily tragic circumstances that gave rat-kind its peak break? That one more rendezvous to rendezvous 11, some 85 million years into our journey. This is where we reach the Laurasia here, which is a very large group of mammals, including ungulates, including carnivores, including shrews, bats, various other things. And at this rendezvous we hear the hippo's tale. When I was a schoolboy studying Greek, I learned that hippos meant horse and potamos, river. Hippopotamuses were river horses. Later, when I gave up Greek and read zoology, I was not too disconcerted to learn that hippopotamuses weren't close to horses after all. Instead, they were classified firmly with pigs, in the middle of the even-toed ungulates, or archaeodactyls. I have now learned something so shocking that I'm still reluctant to believe it. It looks as though I'm going to have to. Hippos' closest living relatives are whales. The even-toed ungulates include whales. Whales, we can say, don't have hooves at all, whether on or even-toed. You see, they don't have toes.
Whales are wonders of the world. They include the largest organisms ever moved. They swim with an up and down movement of the spine derived from the mammalian gallop, as opposed to the side-to-side wave motion of the spine of a swimming fish or a running lizard or presumably a swimming cyclist, or which in other respects looks rather like a dolphin, except for the telltale vertical tail, where the dolphin is horizontal and galloping through the sea. The front limbs are used for steering and stabilizing. There are no externally visible hind limbs at all, but some whales have small vestigial pelvic and leg bones buried deep in their bodies.
It would not be too hard to believe that whales are closer cousins to even-toed ungulates than they are to any other mammal. A bit strange perhaps, but not shocking to accept that some remote ancestor branched to the left and went to seed give rise to the whale, while it branched to the right to give all the even-toed ungulates. What is shocking is that according to the molecular evidence, whales are deeply embedded within the even-toed ungulates. Hippos are closer cousins to whales than hippos are to anything else, including other even-toed ungulates, such as pigs.
Something happened in the history of the whales that made them slip into evolutionary overdrive. Their closest cousins to hippos remain relatively static as normal, respectable archaeodactyls. The whales evolved so much faster than all the rest of the archaeodactyls that their origin within that group was obscured until molecular taxonomists came along and uncovered it. So what's special about the history of the whales?
When you write it down like that, the solution leaks off the page. Leaving the land and becoming wholly aquatic is a bit like going into outer space. When we go into outer space, we are weightless. A whale floats. Unlike a seal or a turtle who still comes on land to breathe, a whale never stops floating. It never has to contend with gravity. A hippo spends time in the water, but it still needs stout, tree trunk-like legs and strong leg muscles for the land. A whale doesn't need legs at all, and it doesn't have any. Think of a whale as what a hippo would like to be if only it could be free from the tyranny of gravity. And of course, there are so many other odd things about living the whole time in the sea that it comes to seem far less surprising that whale evolution should have started as it did, leaving hippos behind, stranded on land and stranded in the middle of the archaeodactyl. Much the same thing happened in the other direction 300 million years earlier, when our fish ancestors emerged from the water onto the land. If whales are glorified hippos, we are all glorified lungfish. The emergence of legless whales from within the middle of the archaeodactyl, leaving the rest of the archaeodactyl behind, should not be more surprising than the emergence of four-legged land animals from one particular group of fish, leaving those fish behind. That, at any rate, is how I rationalize the hippo-whale connection and recover my lost zoological composure. Those logical